football is so hard. I'm gonna get binoculars literally because I mix up like 850 every single time. And it was the black uniform, so it was like especially hard to see. Yeah, it was not We're still muted, right?
Yeah, we'll start with starting lineup because I think that's first after we contact everybody.
You want me to do Toledo's? I didn't hear what you said. Yeah, it's. I noticed that I was like, Like they don't think about us broadcasters when they make their jerseys. Because all I have to do is click that. Click that.
I believe so. Yeah, and then we gotta go here.
Welcome, Bobcats fans, to Chesterfield, home of the Ohio Bobcats women's soccer team. And today they are going to be matching up against the Toledo Rockets in a battle to decide who's going to be ranked number 3 in the MAC. I'm Cedric Granger, and I'm joined by Chloe Workman. And Chloe, just tell me about Toledo's starting lineup.
Yeah, Cedric, for Toledo, starting the goal, Emma Butterick, she's a sophomore, followed by junior Riley Michaels as a defender, Betsy Luke, also another defender, a senior for the team, Claire Callahan, another senior playing at midfielder, Stephanie, a.k.a. Steph Curry, a junior forward, Ashton Castle, senior playing midfield, followed by Olivia Dahl, another freshman in midfield, Sissy Novak, another defender for the team, is a freshman, Ellie Poole, a sophomore forward, McKenna Schultz, another freshman playing defender, and to round out their starting lineup, Mia Leonetti is a freshman, another forward.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chloe. And it seems like they have such a really young lineup, and they're going to be matching up against this Bobcat starting lineup, which in the goal it's going to have Sam Wexel, the senior out of Irwin, Pennsylvania, followed by Paige Knorr at defender. She's a graduate student now from Cincy. Olivia Sinsky's also going to be getting the start today at defense, followed by Isabella Ganaki, who is going to be starting at midfielder, followed by Madison Clayton, a graduate senior. Then Haley Miller, who had the game winner against Buffalo. She's going to be also starting at midfield, followed by Ella Bianco, Abby Townsend, Shay Robertson, Carson Priggy, and Morgan Colica. That's going to round up your starting lineup for the Bobcats. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and to honor that, there are going to be people, they have fans that are wearing pink, they have the players that are wearing the pink shirts and everything like that in order to spread awareness for breast cancer.
Yeah, Cedric, get into this game. They were giving out 100 free pink T-shirts to the first 100 fans to come out here to Chesterfield on this overcast day. We're supposed to be seeing a little bit of rain later on, but we've had a pretty good turnout. All 100 of those pink shirts have been given away. A lot of people out here to come watch this Bobcat soccer team.
Yes, it is. It's exciting, Chloe, seeing that and having a lot of fans. That's really going to be really solid to pump up the Bobcats. And the last time they were at home, they played against the Buffalo Bulls, who ranked top 50 in the nation at the time. And the Bobcats were not expected to win that game, but they were able to pull off the upset due to the energy of the home crowd and the game-winning goal by Haley Miller in the 80th minute. So the Bobcats shown they can beat really solid teams. And, again, they're off to a really solid start in the MAC. They are 2-0-1. And that's good enough for third in the MAC. In the MAC, they have defeated Buffalo, as I said earlier, by a score of 2-1. They defeated Akron on the road by a score of 1-0. And then they tied most recently against Bowling Green this past Thursday. So that was their first non-win in the MAC, but they still remain undefeated in the MAC. Chloe, how is Toledo doing on the year?
Toledo and Ohio are neck and neck right there, both doing pretty well in the MAC, except last Thursday, Toledo finally was delivered their first loss when they took on Kent State. They lost 2-1. They took this game all the way to overtime. Speaking of overtime, this team has been in overtime 4 times already this season. They know how to keep it going, and they know how to finish strong. A lot of extra minutes from these girls on the field. It
is. There's definitely a potential to see extra minutes, as the Bobcats also saw extra minutes in their game against Bowling Green that ultimately ended in a tie. So there's definitely potential for that. In terms of all-time matchups and everything like that, since 1997, Ohio is 10-16 against Toledo and 3-9 since 2010. So it seems like Toledo has gotten the better of them most of the time. However, in the last meeting back in 2019, Ohio won 4-0, and in the last 2 games that OU has won, they're winning by an average margin of victory of 2.5 goals to nil. So they definitely showed they can be strong. You see the Bobcats working to the box, and that one's knocked away by the goalie for Toledo, and it's going to result in a corner kick.
Some strong offense displayed here early by this Bobcat team. We hear the crowd already hyping up this team, getting excited for that first corner kick here early in the match.
Yes, it is. Very solid energy already so far. This is a big opportunity for the Bobcats to score. This is the Bobcats' 45th corner kick of the year. Their opponents are actually having more corner kicks total, as their opponents have had 55 to just their now 45. But if the Bobcats can generate this, it's going to give them a lot of scoring opportunities and chances at shots on goal. So that one's going to be crossed, and that one's going to be headed out by the Toledo player, and the Bobcats are going to regroup on the outside, trying to work their way into the box. And that one's knocked away again by the head of a player, and it's going to result in another corner kick for the Bobcats as they already generate their second of the day.
Looks like she took that one right off the face. Strong kick right there. On Toledo's side, they had 56 corner kicks so far this year as opposed to their opponents' 28. Bobcats are doing a good job of getting that started here early, 2 in a row within 1 minute of each other.
It is. It's impressive that they were already able to generate 2 already within the first 3 minutes of the game here. We are in the 3rd minute of the game. The score is 0-0. This game just had first touch recently at 1 o'clock. And the Bobcats once again are coming in with a record of 2-0-1 in the conference. And they're going to be able to work their way up if they get a win. The Bobcats, in terms of the standings, they are ranked 3rd. They are 2-0-1 in conference. The Miami Redhawks are above them at 3-0. Kent State, who just recently defeated Toledo, is 2-0-1. So they're at the same record as the Bobcats. And then right below them is Toledo at 2-1. But overall, Toledo is tied for the most wins in the MAC, and they had a really strong non-conference year.
Yeah, Toledo really shine in their non-conference. They're 7-2-2 overall, as opposed to the Bobcats 4-3-1. So Bobcats a little bit of a tougher non-con, but.
Yep, and you see Toledo get ahead and fire a shot, but that goal is saved by Sam Wexel as she makes a great save. That is her 32nd save of the year, and that one was really great to make sure that the Toledo Rockets couldn't get off to a fast start there. And Toledo, they're known for being a fast-starting team.
Yeah, Toledo has outscored a lot of their opponents this year, especially when they played Detroit Mercy. They were able to pick up 6 goals.
6 goals, yeah, that seems really impressive. That is the most goals scored by any team in the MAC this season, which is very impressive that they were able to do that. A couple other teams were able to manage 6 goals, but to be able to have that explosive of a game really shows how good this team can be at attacking. So the Bobcats definitely will have their work cut out for them, but it's not like the Bobcats haven't played some tough competition. Buffalo, again, was a really strong team, and the Bobcats came to play in that matchup and were able to beat a solid team in Buffalo. But the Bobcats, they are wearing their white jerseys, green shorts, and they're going to be working from left to right on your screen. The Toledo Rockets are going to be wearing all navy today, and they're going to be working from right to left on your screen. Now you see the Bobcats working as you see Kalika have the ball and try to find her teammate. She does find Isabella Ganaki, and there's going to be a little bit of a call there, and it's going to give the Bobcats a chance to be able to regroup here. As you see the pass, there's Kalika with the ball, and let's see if she can find her teammate, as it looks like there was a little bit of a miscommunication there, and Toledo is going to be the benefactors. You see Sissy Novak, but that ball is stolen at the last second, and then she's pushed to the ground. And you see a lot of rumbling from the crowd after that one, and that one's going to go out of bounds, and the Bobcats are going to get a throw in. As Shea Robertson's going to pass it off to Kalika, and Kalika is going to throw it in.
Yeah, seeing a bit of physical coming from both sides. Some chirping already out there on the field.
Yep, there's always a lot of physicality in these MAC matchups. These teams do not like each other, of course. When you're playing in the same conference, there's always going to be a little bit of heat, and these games are really competitive. So there's going to be a lot of aggressive plays, especially if it starts raining. There's going to be a lot of slipping. But the Bobcats are already able to generate their 3rd penalty or corner kick of the game. So let's see what they can do. And that one's headed out by Toledo, but there's a shot at the goal, but it's ricocheted off of the Toledo defender as their defense proves impermeable. And the defense for Toledo makes an impressive play, but the Bobcats are going to try to work their way around. As you see Paige Knorr kick it off to her teammate. Can she make it before it goes out the back line? It looks like it's going to go out of bounds past the back line, going to result in a goal kick for Toledo, as it seems like Toledo's defense is very solid as they're being able to get in the way of almost every shot that the Bobcats took.
Yeah, Bobcats doing a good job getting those corner kicks, but that Toledo defense is also doing a good job heading them out, not letting the Bobcats get a chance to get it right there in front of the goal. That's one of the big things with this Toledo team is their defense. They are one of the top defensive teams in the MAC. I think they are the top defensive team in the MAC. In fact, they've only allowed 5 goals this season, and 2 of them came their last game when they lost against Kent State. But before that, they hadn't allowed a first half goal at all this season until last game.
It's impressive. You see an impressive slide tackle there and great passing as Abby Townsend has the ball. Abby Townsend tries to find a teammate inside. There's a kick and there's an opportunity at a shot, and that one's going to go to the right of the goal as the Bobcats were right there in the mix to be able to make something happen. There were some really impressive passes there, including that one to Abby Townsend, and then she had a really impressive cross to get in there, but it was unable to result in a goal.
We're only about 8 minutes into this game, but we see the Bobcats really controlling the ball, commanding the game, and keeping it down on the Toledo side. Taking a lot of shots on goal, too, so far.
8 minutes in, the score is 0-0. Bobcats have had 3 corner kicks, have not been able to generate any shots on goal yet, though. And they're looking to try to generate their first to be able to take an early lead here at Chesafield. And that one's going to be knocked out of bounds and result in a throw-in for the Cats.
Yeah, it looks like Emma Butterick, goalkeeper, going to have her work cut out for her today. Seeing these Bobcats really start this game aggressive, keeping the ball down there, and getting physical as well.
Yep, Chloe, I mean, whenever we talk about sports, when we talk about soccer or field hockey, it almost always seems that one team is the hammer and the other team is the nail. Who's going to be the aggressor? Who's going to be the one that forces the action? And right now it seems like the Bobcats are the ones that are forcing more of the action right now. But we'll see how that changes as the game starts to flow, especially as now we're entering into the 9th minute. Once again, score is 0-0 here from Chesafield. As that ball's knocked out of bounds, we're going to see who it is off of. They're going to say it's off of Bobcat and going to result in possession for the Rockets, a Rocket team that is very, very young.
Yep, this Rocket team is very young. We see a lot of freshmen in their lineup, about 4 freshmen and 2 sophomores. No grad students, which is pretty interesting. We see at least a couple grad students on every other team, but this team really starting young, and it's kind of remarkable with how young they are, how well they have done so far this season, and how well they've been able to come together. Bobcats steal that one away.
Yes, you do. You see that as now the Bobcats are going to work. There's Abby Townsend with the ball on the wing, and that one's taken away as Toledo's able to play some solid defense there temporarily, but the Bobcats regroup for another opportunity at an attack, and that one is knocked out by Toledo. Solid pass there, finding her teammate Mia Leonetti, and then she's going to try to hit that one ahead, and Sam Wexel's going to kick that one away and going to go back onto the Toledo side of the field. As you see a missed pass there as a Toledo player almost slipped, but she's just able to get it past the slide tackle of the Bobcats. And now you see Toledo working around the perimeter, trying to get something going as there's a little bit of space for Sissy Novak. And that one's knocked out by Abby Townsend, and that's going to result in a throw-in by number 11, Betsy Look.
See Toledo starting to take a little bit of control here. Bobcats trying to get this one back, knocked out of bounds.
It is. I mean, this will be the challenge for Ohio's defense. Again, a team that can generate a lot of goals and being able to stave off attack after attack is going to be a quality that they're really going to want. Again, Aaron Rodgers, he was talking about in the last game, they put you under a lot of pressure, so he's referring to Bowling Green in that game. They put the Bobcats under a lot of pressure, and they managed those moments well. And they even said that we had some great moments with the ball and created some very dangerous chances as well. So the Bobcats are going to look to be able to stave off pressure. And against Buffalo, they were under a lot of them. They had to stave off a lot of corner kicks. And yet the Bobcats were able to do that and only allow 1 goal. And even though that goal was first, as you see Toledo working to the box, there's a pass to a teammate, but a solid defensive play by the Bobcats as you see Paige North sliding in there to knock that ball away. And now Toledo sets up again to try to attack the Bobcats. And that one's knocked away by the Bobcats, trying to get back to the center line. And now Toledo setting up once again. There's a shot, and that one is saved. Great save by Sam Wexel. She got all the way up in the air, showing her vertical and being able to catch that ball safely. Keeping the score at 0-0 as we work our way into the 12th minute of the game.
Yeah, some good hops right there by Sam Wexel. Toledo and flipping the switch, really taking some good shots. Seen some good defensive plays right there, trying to keep it out of the goal. We see some right there in the middle. Everyone bouncing over, trying to grab that ball.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of muck in there as well, too. When you have so many players that are around the goal, you almost don't know where the ball is going to be coming from, whether it's a shot that's from like 25 meters away or 50 meters away or something crazy like that, or it's going to be one that's going to be something that's more close up. So there's a lot to be able to focus on. As you see, Morgan Colica rush to the ball, and let's see if she can find her teammate there, and she does, and there's a nice little pass. That was almost a fantastic pass, but Toledo was able to get to the ball just before Abby Townsend does. But multiple Bobcat defenders bear down on her as people are sliding to the ground. And now you see Carson Prigge fight for the ball, and now Carson Prigge has the ball. Let's see where she finds, and there goes Morgan Colica running down the field. She has a little bit of a step, and Toledo's able to knock that away. Solid job by Betsy Luck.
We've talked about that Ohio game against Buffalo, how big it has been, how big it's impacted this team. But funny thing is, Cedric, me and you took a look at the power rankings of all the teams, and somehow Ohio was still ranked lower than Buffalo, lower than Bowling Green, who they have better records than both of them. Toledo just a little bit higher on the rankings. So that was just a little interesting tidbit that we were able to find.
Yeah, it definitely could be off-putting. I know, of course, with the NCAA rankings, you got to rank 342 teams, so that can be very difficult to see Ohio fire a shot, and that one is over the top and over the fence. But, yeah, you see all of these teams that they have to rank, and the Bobcats had an impressive win against a top 50 team, and they only moved up 40-something spots. And even teams like Bowling Green, who's 2-5-2, and they did show that they're around the same level as the Bobcats when they got to play head-to-head and they tied. But seeing a team that only has 2 wins compared to the Bobcats having more wins than that, it's just always a little bit off-putting when you see them.
See this one right around the midfield here.
And that one's going to continue to carry, and Toledo's able to knock that one out of bounds, and that's going to give the Bobcats a good position here. See Colica look for her teammate. There's Haley Miller, who had the game-winning goal against Buffalo, and there's Shea Robertson, and looks like there's a scramble for the ball, and the Bobcats are able to win that scramble. As you see Ganaki with the ball. Now she passes it back to Sensky.
Interesting fact, some more about Toledo. Coach Boo Coles, he was able to pick up their 50th win when they played Illinois a little bit earlier on, or Illinois State a little earlier on in the season, and that ties for second in the MAC for the most wins. See some good coaches here between Boo Coles and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been with this program for a long time as well for the Bobcats.
It is. I've had a lot of matchups between Aaron Rodgers and each of these coaches, just being able to match up with each other a lot. I know there's a lot of respect between these two coaches, and when they see each other at the end, I know there's going to be respect. But when the game is on the line, you know there's going to be that rivalry that's natural, and it becomes competition. And you love to see that as you see the Bobcats working with the ball, and that one is ultimately won by Madison Clayton. She has 2 assists on the year, so she's been excellent at passing, and she was even able to score a goal against Buffalo, too, which was her first goal of the year. 15th minute of the game, 0-0. It has been a stalemate here at Chesterfield.
Yep, stalemate, but we're seeing a lot of opportunities to score by both sides of the ball. Both teams are trying their hardest to find the goal, but we're seeing some really good defense here so far. And like we said, Toledo doesn't like to give up those points in the first half. And the one time they did, they ended up losing.
Yep, for lack of better terms, that is the goal of playing soccer. You see Toledo working their way inside. And that was stolen by Haley Miller as she got the best of the Toledo offense. And now you see Clayton with the ball, and then she's going to kick that one up ahead, and that one's going to slowly work its way out of bounds and give Toledo a throw-in.
After Toledo's last loss, get to hear a little bit from their coach, Boo Coles. He had to say Kent State did a great job of taking us out of what we wanted to do on the attack tonight. Proud to see Olivia Dalt score a tremendous goal and tie it up in the second half. He said he thought they were better in the second half, and they even at the start of overtime, but it just fell apart. He wants to credit Kent State for finding a way to win.
Yeah, Kent State's going to be one of those teams that's going to be very difficult. That's going to be near the latter half of the Bobcats' MAC slate. Coming up for the Bobcats, they're going to have Western Michigan on Thursday, and they're going to play against Northern Illinois on the road on next Sunday. So this schedule has been a Thursday-Sunday schedule for the whole MAC, and it's really cool being able to see that because, you know, all the teams in the MAC are in action at the same time. Ooh, nice little throw in there. Right in stride to Morgan Colica. She's going to work her way to the Toledo side of the ball, dribbling, and able to get past the defenders a little bit and find Shea Robertson on an excellent display of passing. And now they're going to work it inside. There's a kick possibility, and it's knocked out at the very last second by McKenna Schultz. The freshman was able to kick that one away, but excellent display of passing by the Bobcats. You see everybody, Morgan Colica, Shea Robertson, just all working their way inside to be able to put their teammates in a solid position to score.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, Cedric. Beautiful passing, beautiful communication between this team so far this game. We hear the crowd getting hyped up. They love to see it.
Very much so. As you see a save by Toledo there as their goalie, Emma Butoric, got up there and was able to make that save, making almost a sliding catch like she's a receiver in American football. 18th minute of the game. It is 0-0. Bobcats and Toledo all tied up here at Chesapeake. That ball's kicked high up into the air, and that one's headed by Paige Knorr and out of bounds.
Yeah, that was a beautiful save by Emma Batur. She came out of the goal for that one, diving on the ground. It's kind of dangerous, but lucky for her, she's able to hang on to it. Second time I've seen the Bobcats near their goal, and she's been a little bit out of her way, out of the goal, leaving it wide open. So far, she has been successful with that. She's come up with 34 saves on the year before this game.
And now Toledo works their way into the box, and there's going to go down. It's technically a shot on goal, but that one's going to roll slowly right into the hands of Sam Wexel. That'll go down as a save, too, our 33rd of the year.
Another interesting fact about the Toledos, they have not lost on the road. They've won and they have tied, but they have yet to lose on the road. Bobcats looking to hand them that first one and give them another one of their firsts.
We'll see as the game progresses if the Bobcats are going to be able to be successful in that endeavor. And Toledo now is going to have another throw-in. It's been really great seeing the competition for the ball, especially on this line that's kind of on the near side of your guys' broadcast.
See this one out of bounds once again. Toledo with the ball here.
We are in the 20th minute of the game, 0-0 score. Stalemate. Both teams are looking about even so far. And there's a run for the ball, and looks like the Bobcats defense is able to knock that out. There goes Sinski having the ball, going to look for a teammate. She's going to kick that one, and Toledo's going to receive the ball, and they're going to try to set up, and there's a missed pass there, and now it's a scramble for the ball. And Toledo's just going to try to work and try to find a little bit of space inside. As that was knocked away by the Bobcats, you see Carson Prigge stick her foot in there to make that pass, take away from the trajectory of where it was supposed to go. And Colica with the ball finds Prigge and then finds Robertson, who almost slips, but she regains her footing. But that one's intercepted by Toledo.
Seeing a lot of players out there slip and slide all over the field. It's been raining all morning. It's overcast. Projected more rain. Hopefully it'll stay away.
It is. I don't know what it is with our games, Chloe, but it always seems like every time we're at a soccer game, it's pouring rain.
Yeah, Chesapeake has had bad luck so far for the Bobcats with the rain. Poured last Thursday at the last home game. Not a good time for any of our broadcasters or the players or any fans either.
Yep, I was out there in that rain, and the paint from this table ended up staining my pants. Pouring rain, but you know what? It felt all good because the Bobcats got the victory. And now the Bobcats are going to work to midfield, and looks like they're going to retain possession, but Toledo's defenders are bearing down on them here, working out in space now are the Bobcats. And there's a pass on the far side. There's a cross. It gets past the defender, but the defender was able just to get a piece of it and be able to knock that ball off of its trajectory, as that was almost a perfect pass to Shea Robertson. And that ball is going to be out of bounds out the back line, as that was excellent effort by the Bobcats, as you saw a pass that almost went perfectly over the defender, but it just graced the defender just a little bit, and that was able to throw off where the pass was supposed to be.
actually last week, McKenna Schultz was named the MAC Defensive Player of the Week for women's soccer. Schultz, only a freshman, already doing big things here in the conference for Toledo.
I'm not surprised in the slightest considering how good Toledo's defense is. And you're first in the MAC, I'm sure you're more than likely going to be getting a lot of strong defensive plays.
See yet another one out of bounds here. Ohio throwing this one in.
Yep, and that ball is going to bounce a little bit slowly as Toledo almost was able to come up with it. But now Prigge has the ball, and she fires a solid pass to her teammate, but it looked like Paige Noor was trying to bring it down.
Soccer, volleyball, most of them.
You're right about that, Chloe. I mean, again, it's a quick turnaround, and being able to go into a full season that quickly, I mean, you're pretty much ending your season, and then you're just going right back into conditioning. So, again, I can definitely see how that'd be very difficult for a lot of the players, but they've been stepping up, and the Bobcats have really improved. Last year, they only won 3 conference games all season long, and they have a chance to win their 3rd today. 25th minute of the game, 0-0. Both of these two teams fighting for supremacy here in the MAC. Both teams are looking to try to get to that top 3 spot in the MAC here, as Miami of Ohio and Kent State are the only 2 teams ahead. Kent State does have the head-to-head tiebreaker against Toledo, so that's something that will hold strong, especially in the standings. That one is knocked away. See an impressive play by Ella Bianco using her head to knock away almost a perfect pass that would have led to a shot on goal for Toledo, but the Bobcats are able to stave that off as their defense proves impermeable.
Speaking of Miami, sitting top of the MAC, undefeated in MAC play, Toledo has to play this upcoming Thursday. So 2 tough games right back to back.
It is. Talk about a tough stretch playing Kent State. You're playing the 3 top teams in the MAC all consecutively. You'll definitely take your licks on that sort of run.
Yeah, I'm sure, as Coach Buchholz would say, though, they're just focused one at a time. Not even worrying about what's ahead. They just want to get through this game.
Yep, one game at a time mentality, and I'm sure the Bobcats are thinking very similarly. I know the result against Bowling Green is not exactly what you want. You obviously want to win a game, and ties, that's not always the best thing, especially if it falls you, because if the Bobcats would have won that game, they'd be on the top of the standings tied with Miami, but now they're half a game back of Miami. So, again, it puts them a little bit behind the 8 ball, but, again, one game at a time mentality. And the MAC, this is a conference that does not let up. There are tough teams all over the place. And looks like there's a little bit of players falling, and they're going to call a call on Ohio. So Toledo's going to have possession, much to the fans' anger and dismay.
Yeah, fans did not like that call at all, Cedric. Going to see a kick here
from McKenna Schultz, and that one's going to curve high up in the air. And there's a shot that almost goes towards the goal, but Sam Wexel aggressively jumps up and grabs that ball again. She's been on fire today.
Yep, Wexel getting those hops in once again. I think Toledo's been using that to their advantage, trying to score it over the head of her. But she is not letting it pass.
She is not at all. She's had an impressive run of games, including a couple of shutouts, and she has not allowed a goal since the 5th minute of the Buffalo game. So to put that in perspective, that was last Thursday. So she's been on fire as of lately, not allowing any goals, allowed none against Akron, allowed none against Bowling Green, and she's looking to do the same thing. And the thing with soccer, you're never going to lose a game if you don't allow a goal. You may tie, but you won't lose. Oh, that ball is ricocheted off a Toledo defender, but Shea's able to fight for the ball, but it's kicked out by Toledo, and that was kicked out by number 11, Betsy Luke.
Yep, Betsy Luke staying strong in there. At Ohio, another corner kick here.
Yep, their 4th of the game. We'll see what goes down right here.
Ohio picked up those first 3 corner kicks real early in the game. It's been a little bit since we've seen one from them, and we haven't seen any from Toledo so far.
So here comes the corner kick. Abby Townsend will take it. Has the ref sort of interject there to make sure there's always a little bit of jostling and everything for position. There's a little bit of a pause on the play. Looks like a stoppage of the clock. And they'll probably start on her signal. It is a 0-0 score. The Bobcats looking to change it on that corner kick. We are in the 29th minute, or 28th, getting close to the 29th minute here of the game from Chesapeake as the clouds continue to start consolidating here, as hoping we can stay dry, but that's not likely.
I think the ref was trying to get some of those seconds back on the clock.
Yep, it looks like it as they change the game clock from 16:47 left to about 16:51 as the clock is running. There's the corner kick, and that one is ricocheted out of bounds to the right of the goal, and that's going to result in a goal kick for the Rockets of UT.
Not sure what happened, because as soon as the kick, they took that time away again, so not really sure what was going on with that play, the refs.
It is. It is the human element of the refs. Again, not perfect in the timing and the clock and the communication between the press box and the refs from being so far away on the field. It can be very difficult to be able to communicate that sort of thing. So that'll happen occasionally. But the game will go on. Once again, 0-0 as the Bobcats have 4 corner kicks to Toledo 0, but the game remains tied at 0. Ooh, and that ball's ricocheted, and the Bobcats are going to get the possession back, and the green and white are going to try to work as there's going to be a rush for the ball. Townsend going to try to win it. Townsend's able to get past 2 defenders temporarily, but then Toledo's able to stave off that attack. As you see, Betsy Luke knock that one out of bounds to prevent any sort of fast break sort of opportunity for the Bobcats.
Abby Townsend, one of the stars of this soccer team, been here for a long time, but everyone knows her name here.
That is very much true. She was the Bobcat Athlete of the Week for all sports at OU back in August. Again, one of those household names in Bobcat sports. You see Paige Knorr work around the box, and that one is kicked 30 meters out to midfield. That was an impressive kick by the defender for Toledo. Now the Bobcats are going to work all the way back to their territories. Everybody is sprinting back to the ball. As you see Sinski with the ball. Now she finds her man, Allie Campanella. She's the freshman from Hudson, Ohio, who just checked into the game. She's been getting a lot of playing time so far on the season. As now you see Clayton get it back to Townsend. An impressive pass by Townsend, trying to find Clayton on the run. And there's a little bit of a box out there. That was an aggressive play by McKenna Schultz, and there's not going to be a single call there, as that was a very aggressive play by Schultz. Again, she's a very physical defender, and she was able to box out Clayton there, and that ball rolled out of bounds for the goal kick.
Seen her really showing off her wheels on that one. Sprinting to the ball, she's able to beat Townsend almost. Not seeing a whole lot of penalties being called here so far this game, despite how physical it has been so far. Crowd not exactly agreeing with that, though.
But I can personally see why. But we'll see what goes on if the Bobcats can regroup. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to test your mental strength in this game of soccer. And sometimes calls might not go your way, or you may see that something might be, hey, they called that wrong. But you've got to be able to have that mental strength to be able to keep your head in the game and not let certain things deter you. As you see Campanella get the ball and get the steal. And now here's Abby Townsend working laterally to try to get past the defender. And there's going to be a run for the ball. It's going to be Clayton against Schultz again, but the goalie gets to it first. And now Toledo's able to get a goal kick as Emma Butterwick is going to kick that one off there. Apologize for names mispronunciations now. We have the pronunciations now in front of us, so we should be able to get those right more often. As another Bobcat falls to the ground as he Paige Knorr fall, and they're going to give the possession to Ohio. As the game continues to get more physical, it seems like Toledo is playing very aggressive in terms of knocking people to the ground to get to the ball.
Still sitting here at 0, just a little bit past the 30-minute mark. Seeing some good defense on both sides of the ball here so far. A lot of nice plays coming from both teams. Still have yet to see a Toledo corner kick.
Yep, and there's Campanella working inside, and that one is ricocheted by Sissy Novak to try to stave off that Bobcat attack. But the Bobcats are going to set up again to try to go back into that fortification of the defense by Toledo. a very stingy defense, as you heard Chloe talk about earlier. 0-0 remains the score. We are in the 33rd minute of the game on a cloudy fall day at Chesapeake, where it's a mix of muggy at some times and a mix of a nice light fall breeze at times as well too.
Yeah, when I first got here, I was sweating, a little warm despite how cloudy it is, but then we sometimes get that breeze. Almost feels like rain's coming in, but we've been pretty lucky thus far.
It is, knock on wood.
So these two teams, really seen Toledo take over this year and really transform, even though they are a young team, because last time these two faced each other in 2019, the Bobcats won 4-0, and this year was the first time in 11 years that Toledo has won their first two games. So really seeing this program kind of turn around here.
It is always impressive to see. There are teams that always are better at certain sports than others. I know Bowling Green is usually one of the better teams this year, and they're having a little bit of a down year relative to what they've been in the past. And then there are certain teams that have usually been on the bottom of the standings for a very long time without stretches of solid play. But it really speaks to the recruiting that they're doing and then the coaching style to be able to build up a program over a 7-year span to get to the point where you are recruiting freshmen and sophomores that are stars of your team and are producing a lot of wins. And you could see it pay huge dividends for Toledo, but also huge dividends for the Bobcats as well, too. Campanella passes it back out to the Bobcats. Bianco. And Bianco is going to try to look for a teammate. As you see, number 8, Olivia Darrow, the junior, checking into the game. As it seems like the Bobcats have decided to get a little bit of fresh legs as we work our way into the final 10 minutes of the opening half. And there's a ball jostling, and Abby Townsend falls to the ground, and she's able to get back up, showing her toughness. And the Bobcats are going to be rewarded with the possession.
Townsend is just getting beat up today. That's the second time we've seen her go down and be a little bit slow getting back up. But Cedric, we've talked a lot about how young this Toledo team is, but we need to talk about how old the Ohio team is. We've seen a lot of history with them, several seniors, and even a couple grad students in their starting lineup.
As you see the fake a little bit right there by Bianco. But yes, as you were saying, Chloe, there are a lot of older students here on the Bobcats, and that's strong for leadership. I mean, you look at Olivia Sensky, she's a senior here. You see Abby Townsend, who's been here for a while. Haley Miller, who came up with the big goal against Buffalo, and what was a really huge win just for the momentum to be able to set the tone for the MAC schedule. Those are the type of people that all the younger players are going to be looking towards to be able to lead the team, especially they were people that they were there last year, probably taught them the ropes of being able to play in college, as well as some of them were former teammates. So they were senior leaders at their high schools, and they saw them when they were younger. As you see another Bobcat fall to the ground there as Toledo continues playing very physical, almost like a check in hockey.
Yeah, when people think about physical sports, sometimes they might not bring soccer to mind, but it is a lot more tackling than most people would think.
It is. You see Toledo working to the box. There's a shot, and that one is ricocheted as Sam Wexel gets a huge save. And now the Bobcats defense are trying to regroup, and they're working their way with the balls. Bianco kicks that one out as Abby Townsend tries to keep it in bounds. And there was a really exciting little exchange there as it looked like a huge chance for Toledo to be able to take a 1-0 lead. But the Bobcats remain strong, not only defensively but also in the goal to be able to stave off Toledo. But the Rockets are going to try to launch their way back into the box there. And you see them having a little bit of possession. They're going to look like there's an opening for a shot, but she's going to look for the passing option. And now Toledo working around the box. It looks like number 14 is going to have a good chance at a pass inside, but that one knees high up into the air. And that one is kicked out again. You see a big kick by Bianco, and that's going to take it all the way out of bounds safely for the green and the white. As the green and white of the Bobcats were able to stave off once again. They were able to fight off attack after attack of Toledo right there on that exchange, and they don't allow a goal.
Yeah, Cedric, we've really seen Sam Wexel's athleticism right there. She dove after that one, hit it off her body, and was able to get up and recover quickly because that one didn't quite make it out of that goal box. Having to face off as Toledo took control of that one.
0-0 remains the score. There is 38. We're in the 38th minute of the game. 4 corner kicks to 0 in terms of the advantage. And the Bobcats checking a few new players. You see Ellie Ferguson, the junior from Ireland, checks her way into the game as well, as the Bobcats are going to have some fresh legs for the final 8 minutes of the half, and there's going to be a sprint to the ball, and it looks like that's going to be fielded by Toledo, and they're going to go for the goal kick here, and that's a punt high up into the air and lands at about midfield, and Ali Campanella knocked that one out, and there goes number 32, Dalen Rosser, the sophomore from New Albany, Ohio, who checked into the game as well, too. One of those examples, again, fresh legs. See the spin move by Abby Townsend. It always seems like she's making at least one defender look like a fool, and she does it again. And there's a pass inside, as that was an impressive display. Even if the Bobcats weren't able to get a good shot on that one, whew, she is something else when it comes to dribbling that soccer ball.
Yeah, beautiful pass there by Townsend. Sadly, no Bobcats were there to set up for the shot. And Toledo recovers this one.
Here it is, but then that's stolen on that head-to-head right there by Olivia Darrow, and then she's going to try to find her teammate inside as there's a little bit of a push as Juliana Farina was trying to get the ball, and it looked like she got pushed a little bit, but Ali Campanella regroups. Campanella tries to pass inside, but there was no Bobcat defender, and that one bounces off the face.
I think she missed her mark a little bit there, sending that one back behind player up there.
It is. I mean, again, Chloe, with everybody constantly running, it's got to be very difficult to be on the same page, especially with people not being able to communicate as easily on the fly like that. You see Abby Townsend take a little break to get ready to be able to have fresh legs for the second half when they're really going to need her as well, too. And Izzy Boyd, the sophomore, checks in, as it looks like the Bobcats are playing a lot of their youth here in the last 5 minutes of this opening half, as we are in the 40th minute. 0-0 remains the score. The young Bobcats now are on the field to match the young Toledo Rockets.
Yeah, Cedric, these last couple of minutes as we're heading near in the half, both teams have made it exciting. Both teams really working towards the goal. So we've had a little bit of defensive action here, but now we're seeing a lot more offense as we're nearing the goal.
Yep, and it's going to continue getting physical here as both of these two teams now, with all the younger players, a lot of freshmen and sophomore in for the Bobcats. This is a preview for what these matchups are going to be like for the next 3 or 4 years here between these two teams, as they're going to be matching up potentially in MAC tournaments or anything like that, and then also in the regular season they'll be playing next year up in Toledo. So, again, it's great to be able to see what these matchups are going to look like for a long time, as you see an impressive play by Toledo trying to work their way down, as it almost seems like a excellent just regular effort there by number 9 for Toledo, Kaylee Josifov, and she's a sophomore from Brunswick, Ohio. And she got the ball all the way down there for Toledo, and they're going to try to set up for one last scoring position as the Bobcats defense is going to look to remain strong. This is a great opportunity for the younger Bobcats to be able to learn how to deal with these certain situations, different scenarios. Your team is tied 0-0. The last thing you want is to be down 1-0 and find yourself in a hole as that ball skyrockets into the box there. And Toledo safely just going to pick up the ball, and it's going to result in Emma Butterwick here for the kickoff. There's the punt high up into the air.
Yeah, it is interesting getting to see a little bit of a preview for what's to come, especially when both teams are ramping up their offense. Interesting to see what this fresh defense can do. What we're going to see here in the next couple years.
0-0 remains the score. We are in the 42nd minute of the game, or 41st, approaching the 42nd minute of the game. Both of these two teams look very even so far, as each goalie has had to make a big save. And it looks like, Wexel's able to get that one out of there just in time, as you saw the Toledo defender bearing down on her to potentially get a shot at an easy chance at the goal. And they're going to call tripping, and that's going to result in an infraction on the Bobcats. And the Rockets are going to set up their offense. They're going to have everybody run down. And it's going to be up to the Bobcats defense to stand strong here.
I wouldn't be surprised, Cedric, if we've seen another tie result in this game, or if we have to go to overtime. We've seen both teams really struggle with that all year long. A lot of ties and a lot of overtime appearances for both teams.
I think that's a pretty accurate prediction, Chloe, based off of what we've seen. But I know both of these two teams are not thinking about a tie. They're thinking about a win.
Exactly, but we are seeing such an even matchup here. Still battling to take over that third position in the MAC, though. Strong header there. Impressive
job by the Bobcats. Their defense has been very impressive. Both of these defenses have been impressive. to say the least here. As you see, a little bit of a fight for the ball. There's a little bit of a rush. The Bobcats are able to win that exchange. As Isabella Ganaki gets past her defender and then finds Paige Noor. And then Noor tried to get it back to Ganaki. But unfortunately, Toledo ended up with the ball. But then they steal it right back, saying, anything you can do, I can do better, Toledo. And now here comes the Bobcats working with the ball, but Toledo gets the better of that exchange.
And Ganaki taking a minute trying to slow down this play right here. Give the Bobcats a second to set up what they're trying to do and attack the goal.
Yep, and there's a shot on goal right there. That's going to go down for Izzy Boyd. It's going to be saved by Toledo. We are in the 43rd minute of the game. The score is 0-0.
Unless something big happens right here.
We shall see, Chloe.
Might see 0-0 going into the half.
Well, I tell you that there's a lot of desperation that's going to be going on as you see Juliana Farina work her way in there, and that was knocked away by Toledo. But, yeah, like you were talking about earlier about how Ganaki was slowing things down. It's impressive display to be able to slow things down even when the time is starting to drip, as you'll see only 1 minute and 28 seconds left in this half, Chloe, and being able to still find the time to be able to relax, get everybody to get set up. It's really impressive to be able to see that.
With soccer being such a long sport and so much running, it is definitely interesting to see how the teams are able to go and aggressive like this and have a lot going on at once, but how they're also able to slow down to be able to make sure they got the energy to get through it, especially if they have to face an overtime.
For sure. That's why I think we've seen so many substitutions, being able to see the Bobcats get their younger players in. It is the 44th minute of the game. We are almost to halftime here, 0-0 at Chesapeake between the Bobcats and the Rockets, the green and white versus the navy and yellow.
The Rockets are able to hold off the Bobcats here. That will give them yet another game they haven't allowed anyone to score in the first half.
It is. They've only allowed one game so far this season where they've allowed a goal in the first half, which is a very impressive defensive stat. But the Bobcats are going to look to change that here in the last 22 seconds here. And it looks like they might have one more opportunity to be able to try to set something up. We'll see if they can get anything going, as there's 11 seconds, make that 10 seconds now left to go in the half, as you see our wonderful PA announcer counted down for you. As the ball is just going to run down, everybody's going to go get ready to take their break. And it is 0-0 here at Chesapeake as the Bobcats and the Rockets have played into a stalemate, as both of these two teams are looking very even thus far. Chloe, do you have any feedback or just things that you've noticed that happened in the first half?
We've talked about it all game, just how even these two teams are seeing a lot of great defense on both sides of the ball. McKenna Schultz is really showing us why she won MAC Defensive Player of the Week last week. But, Cedric, I think that's all I got here as we get ready to take our break and head into the halftime.
Yep.
See you back here in about 15 minutes.
Yep, get a nice little break as you're going to get to be able to see them setting up the pins. It looks like there's going to have some sort of event here. But once again, the score is 0-0 from Chesapeake between the Ohio Bobcats and the Toledo Rockets. You're watching on Ohio Bobcat TV. We'll be back in about 15 minutes for the second half. click them.
Welcome back here to Chesa Field for the second half of this Bobcat women's soccer game, Toledo versus Ohio. Score is 0-0, so we're heading into the half. We're heading out of the half into the second half. Seen a lot of good defense on both sides of the ball here, looking to see if either team's able to push through and grab a goal. I'm here with Cedric Granger. My name's Chloe Workman, who will get you through the rest of the game.
Yep, both of these two teams, they almost worked their way into a stalemate in that first half. Both of these two teams ranked top 4 in defensive efficiency in the MAC, as Toledo's only given up 5 goals all season. The Bobcats are not much worse than that at allowing only 8 goals this whole year. So both of these two teams are impressive defensively, so it's no surprise to me that the scoreboard reads 0-0. For the Bobcats, now it's gone, Now, they didn't score last game, and then they haven't scored for the first half of this game, so that's 3 straight halves without a goal. We'll see if the Bobcats can change that. But also, on the other end of the spectrum, the Bobcats have not given up a single goal in 4 halves. So that's the other side of the coin. So we'll see what the Bobcats can do and if they can be able to produce a goal in this half and come out victorious, Chloe.
Yeah, and if that doesn't make sense to you listening out there, the Bobcats tied their last game at 0. Makes for a bit of an interesting concept. Toledo lost their last game 2-1. These teams are pretty evenly matched here as we're getting ready for the first touch of the second half.
Once again, in terms of MAC standings, each of these two teams are up in the top 4. And Toledo, they ranked 4th in the MAC right now. They are 2-1. While the Bobcats are 2-0-1 and tied for 2nd in the MAC technically with Kent State. Kent State is a little bit above, though, just in terms of a tiebreaker.
Olivia Sinsky fighting off for that ball. So that one makes its way near the goal, but knocked out of bounds.
Yep, that was almost a little too close for comfort as you saw the goal, or the shot just go a little bit left to the goal, but once again, the defense remains strong for the Bobcats.
Talked about Sam Wexel's efficiency all game long as she kicks this one out of the goal. Bobcats trying to work their way all the way down the field here. You see Olivia Sinsky fighting here once again. Toledo, we talked about last half, Ohio really took charge and spent the first almost 10 minutes down on the other end of the field, but it looks like Toledo flipping the switch here and taking control of this half so far in the couple minutes that we've been here. That one kicked out of bounds. We see a throw in from Toledo. A kick, but it looks like a miscue, and that one's going to be headed, but over the goal and out of bounds.
Almost over the fence there by Toledo, but it looks like Toledo, after those halftime adjustments there, it seems like they're coming out a lot more aggressive than they did in the first half. It seemed like the Bobcats were able to generate a lot more corner kicks. They seem to be the aggressor majority of the time, but it looks like the Rockets are the aggressor right now.
Good, nice little block there by Haley Miller. Seen the Bobcats get control of the ball for just a second, but the Toledo offense really just stole that right from them. Nice block. We see one-on-one out there. Knocked down. Ball hanging out right here about the half. Toledo taking their time, setting up the play as that one's headed by Morgan Colica. Finally, we see it on the Bobcat side of the ball, but it looks like Toledo's going to take control of it and reset. This one rolling its way down into the goal. Offsides against Ellie Ferguson. Just kidding, wrong team. Offsides against Brittany Probst. As that gives the ball back to the Bobcats.
Yep, one of the coolest parts about the MAC, as we talked about last half, Chloe, is that every team in the MAC plays on the same day. So all MAC teams are going to be in action today. On last Thursday, every MAC team was also in action that day. And some of the scores was Eastern Michigan lost to Western Michigan 1-0. Buffalo defeated Ball State 2-1. the Miami Redhawks beat the Zips of Akron 3-0 in a dominant performance. Toledo, they lost to Kent State, as we talked about, 1-2. Central Michigan was able to defeat Northern Illinois by a score of 1-0, and Bowling Green tied with the Bobcats. As you see Toledo now looking to try to get some momentum.
A slide right there by Sam Wexel, but they're going to call that one back. Looks like we're going to see a goal kick from her. This one, nope, not a goal kick. Ella Bianco takes control of this one. Bobcats struggling to hang on to possession of the ball here early on, as that one's headed and right back into the hands of the Rockets.
It is, Chloe. That's the trick with these strong defensive teams, is that there's going to be a defender on you almost immediately when you get the ball. It's very rare where you're going to have a chance to be able to dribble without 1 or 2 defenders being on you. In some cases, even 3 defenders. So, again, it really goes back to dribbling and being able to keep possession of the ball very cleanly, and that's something that can be very difficult. I see Toledo struggle with it.
See Abby Townsend coming in hot to that goal, but she's not able to do anything with it. No other Bobcat players up there for her to pass the ball off to. But we see Townsend starting early. Talked about her all game, talked about her all year. She's been a commanding force for the Bobcats. This one is kicked high. Both teams battling for it still. See Ganaki going for it in yet another battle. And Toledo able to kick it down towards their goal with another kick out, a header there by Olivia Dalt. One thing about Olivia Dalt is she's been one of the strongest scorers so far this year for Toledo. We haven't really seen much out of her so far this game, though. A little bit of a high kick right there.
And it looks like the physical play has not subsided at all, Chloe. We saw that a lot in the first half, of a lot of jostling and fighting and battling for the ball. And it once again occurs here, as it seems like there are always players on the ground whenever the ball is high up in the air and there's a battle for it. Just showing how both of these two teams are just fighting with everything they got to be able to get that ball, be able to get an opportunity to put their team up in the lead.
Beautiful kick there by Olivia Sinsky, but not able to do anything with it as it's in the hands of Emma Butterwick. Yeah, with that battle, we just seen Abby Townsend involved. We've seen her being aggressive all game long, on the ground a lot, taking a lot of shots from the Rockets. As this one is sent high. Carson Prigg trying to get a hold of it. Madison Clayton taking this one down the field, passing it up in the area of Townsend, but it rolls its way out of bounds.
One thing to note is just the speed of a lot of these players. There is some really impressive speed that's going to be on display, especially when it comes to defensively getting to the ball. You see Abby Townsend, she was able to outrace the Toledo defenders on that earlier chance that they had. And then also Toledo, you see Stephanie Curry, aka Steph Curry, was able to sprint down the field to be able to get to that ball before the Bobcats could do anything with it. So just being able to see the speed of both teams is something that I'm noticing early on. I see Toledo steal it.
Battling for that one. What a nice play right there by Claire Callahan. See a trip right there from Haley Miller. See a bit of chirping coming from the crowd here. They don't agree with the call. Toledo getting to kick it. Yeah, you mentioned Steph Curry. We kind of had a little running joke this week. Our coach's name is Aaron Rodgers, and they have a player on their team named Steph Curry. Just a bit of giggles between both the teams.
Yeah, we got a lot of professionals out here, obviously, and then when you have the nod to the professional athletes, you know it's always going to put smiles on people's faces when you see an Aaron Rodgers, which is, of course, our Bobcat coach, and then Steph Curry for the Rockets. Definitely something that's very intriguing. I see almost like a little bit of a fake play there.
A trick play right there. It didn't work, though. They sent that one over the net. We seen it looked like McKenna Schultz was going to kick it. And then Riley Michaels cut in front of her, and then Schultz did kick it. But they weren't able to do what this Rocket offense wanted to do. Seeing a goal kick now from Sam Wexel. Wexel sends this one up the left side. A header right there by Carson Prigg, and it's out of bounds once again. Giving this one back to the possession, Toledo.
It's really impressive how each of these two teams' defenses are able just to knock people off of their game and take them away from what they do best. For the Bobcats, they're really great at getting those plays out in space where you have Abby Townsend or Morgan Colica or Shea Robertson running down in front of everybody and just being able to find great passing options. And that's where the Bobcats usually tend to thrive. But Toledo's doing a great job of being able to knock them out of that sort of routine by having multiple defenders. Even if it just takes somebody knocking it out of bounds, that can also just throw the Bobcats off of all their momentum. So again, both of these two teams have really schemed up their defenses very well for this game. You can tell there's been a lot of film watching and a lot of great studying and game planning and then preparation by the coaches and the players.
Yeah, Cedric, and talk about momentum. It seems like Toledo is starting off this half with that momentum as they're making their way back down towards the goal. But Olivia Sinsky able to get that one out of there, passing up to Shea Robertson. Cutting through two defenders, passing it in the middle. Madison Clayton. But Toledo able to take over once again.
Talk about fancy footwork by Shea Robertson there. And then Sinsky, that was a very impressive job to win that one-on-one.
Paige Nora one-on-one here. Shot on goal, saved by Sam Wexel. That one a bit of an easy one for Wexel. She's able to hang on to it.
Whether it's the easy ones or the difficult ones, when it comes to saving, she's been not just good but terrific thus far in the game.
Yeah, both of our goalies here have been terrific so far this season. Sends this one out. And see Toledo taken over once again. Haley Miller trying to take over, and it's in the space of Madison Clayton. One-on-one once again, coming up from behind, Haley Miller. But Shea Robertson knocked it down. She's going to try to... We see Robertson with a little bit of a shove right there. They're going to give her a yellow card. Going to give that one to Isabella Ganaki. Just kidding, wrong team. Riley Michaels for Toledo. He's going to get handed a yellow card right there. I think that's what this Ohio team has been waiting for somebody on the team to get penalized. Crowd pretty happy about that one.
Yep, and we'll see if they can take advantage of this opportunity, being able to have penalties where people's feelings and emotions gets the best of them. This is a great opportunity to be able to take advantage of the mental mistake by the Rockets and see if the green and white can be able to generate another attack here. As you're going to see a lot of the Bobcats players fighting for position inside, and we'll see if Sinsky can deliver a solid kick.
Sinsky sends this one in. It's high, and it knocked back out away from the goal. Not really sure who had it on that one. We've seen a lot of defenders right there as this one rolls out of bounds. Paige Norris sending this one in to Sinsky. Ganaki. The nice pass right there to Bianco. Seeing the defense, seeing some good pass work right here. They're trying to get it up the field, and that one sent out of bounds, giving the ball back to Toledo. We are about 17 minutes in this game. Score remains here at 0. Seeing a substitution for the Rockets as they're bringing in Marcy Clark. See them using their fresh legs here early on in the second half.
Yes, they have been, Chloe. I mean, again, both of these two teams, they have lots of depth on their rosters. You see that you can almost form a whole nother soccer team with the depth that these two teams have with their rosters. So being able to go into that depth, especially when your starters may be a little bit tired and that you may want to get them a little bit rested for the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes of the game, that's a great tactic to be able to use. You see Clayton get the best out of that one.
Yeah, beautiful block there by Clayton over to Haley Miller. We see Townsend grabbing that one off to the right side. The one-on-one, but it's blocked out of the way. The Bobcats recover. Taking it over once again. We see some more bodies down out there on the field. Clayton knocked out of bounds. Some good defensive work there by the Rockets. They're able to keep that one away from the goal and knocked out as they get the ball back.
Yep, they're utilizing some really impressive techniques out there, being able to, almost like a box out in basketball, being able to keep the offensive player away from the ball. And Toledo really is doing a great job of that. You see Madison Medell on that last play right there, able to box out Clayton from being able to have the ball. Even though she showed some fancy footwork, you can definitely tell she's a veteran in terms of college soccer. It's just really impressive to see what Toledo did right there defensively to make sure that ball went out of bounds. But again, the Bobcats generated a pretty decent shot right there, a decent chance, as you saw Haley Miller work away there and then find her teammate Townsend, which I know the Bobcats are always looking for Townsend when they're near the goal as well, because she's always one of those players that can really make things happen. But Toledo, they were able to stave that off. Now it's kind of seemed like the Bobcats have sort of evened it out in terms of aggression and who's been the hammer and who's been the nail in terms of what's going on this half.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cedric. We talked earlier on in the game how important it is to take control. And Bobcats, they seen Toledo was starting that off, but they were able to get it back here as they see it down near the other goal once again. But the Rockets controlling the ball right between the legs of Shea Robertson. But Robertson gets it back past the defenders. A beautiful pass up to Paige Noor battling right there with McKenna Schultz. Another takedown. Schultz, just an aggressive player for the Rockets. Probably one of the most aggressive in the MAC, as she is handed a yellow card. Bobcats real close to the goal, getting the kick right here.
Yep, this crowd went absolutely nuts. You can feel the energy in the crowd there. You see people stamping their feet to the stands and people cheering at the top of their lungs for the Bobcats here. Especially, again, it seems like Toledo and their mental just toughness in terms of this and trying to stay in the game and being able to keep your head cool. It's really been letting them down, especially when you got a young team. It takes to that maturity to be able to have the state of mind to not let your feelings and emotions get the best of you. And it looks like Toledo is starting to fold a little bit to that. So we'll see if the Bobcats can take advantage here.
Some beautiful positioning right here for the Bobcats and Olivia Sinsky as she's going to have the kick. But back to Schultz, we've seen a lot of aggression out of her in the first half. And it is surprising this is the first time something like this has been called, because she's been taking down our players all game long. But there is a reason she won Defensive Player in the MAC last weekend. Seeing the Bobcats set up, Sinsky with the kick, and it is kicked out by the Rockets. But that's going to give the Bobcats the ball right back here for a corner kick, the 5th of the game for the Bobcats.
It is, but even though this is their 5th corner kick of the game, they've only been able to get one shot at goal on this so far. So let's see if they can get that for a second shot on goal here and be able to get that one into the net. It's going to be a tough task, but it's still possible, as Kent State proved last week or 2 days ago.
Crowd stamping their feet as Abby Townsend has taken this one. And the kick is off. And yet another Toledo defender getting that one out and away from the goal. We've seen them do that all game long. That one, a beautiful setup, 2 Toledo players right there on it. And that's going to give Toledo the ball back.
Tricky miscommunication there by the Bobcats. It looked like once Shea Robertson got that pass, it looked like she was expecting one of her teammates to be right there to make that kick, but it seems like in the play design, one of the players that was supposed to be there wasn't, and you could see the frustration on Robertson's face that was the result, because it looked like probably their best chance to be able to score yet. Is a pass that was almost perfectly on the line, but just out in front of Robertson, and Toledo is going to have the ball.
Sinsky shows off that power. She sends that one just a little too long. Going to give this one back to the Rockets. A lot of adrenaline coming out there, taking a second to just slow down here a bit. We talked about it near the end of the first half, how they're able to change how fast or how slow the pace of the game is going. And right now, after a fast pace right there, we're seeing it kind of slow down a bit. Hear the ref whistle. Look, we're going to redo that throw in. This one thrown in to Ellie Ferguson. The Bobcats take right back over. Abby Townsend receiving the pass. That was a beautiful, she kicked that one high above the head of the defender. But another Rocket came in right behind and took the ball right back. It looked almost like Townsend was the one that kicked that one out of bounds, but they gave it back to the Bobcats.
It is. There's a perfect example, though, of what Toledo does best. As Toledo, you see multiple defenders every single play. It does not matter what type of play or where the ball is at. There are always one or two defenders that are there. So even if one player gets past the first one, there's a second one right there to be able to knock it away, which really makes this team difficult. You see already the scrambling there as you see players get into the ball very quickly. And it's just relentless, it seems, by Toledo.
See a bit of a mix-up right here, trying to get the ball back. This one sent downfield. Looks like Morgan Colica is out there and on it. Bobcats taking over, trying to get this away from their own goal. But Toledo fighting right back. And yeah, Cedric, I agree. That one looked like a bit of a flop right there. And the crowd seems to agree, but they're going to give that ball back to Toledo.
It is. We were talking about in the first half about how physical soccer is and how usually people don't equate that. But usually that's what people equate with soccer. People usually equate the flopping or the selling of it. But I'm not going to lie, this whole game has been very, very physical, and I can't take it away from either team, even if there might be a little bit of acting that goes down in the game.
Going to see Toledo line up for a kick here. And they try that same little fake out move once again. This one close to the goal, but Sam Wexel holds on. That one bouncing in there. That was a close call right there for the Bobcats.
I think everybody's hearts just jumped in this crowd right there as you saw the ball almost go through the hands of Wexel. But once again, she kept her cool, even though there was a little bit of a mistake there. She was able to go, grab it right before it crossed the line, and save the Bobcats from being down 1-0 against a team that does not give up a lot of goals.
Yeah, we talked about her athleticism a bit in the first half, and she displays it there once again with that quick recovery. They're going to kick it back to her and set things up, leaving the goal empty. Rockets hustling in on that one. Try to take advantage of that.
It is. It always seems a little bit risky when you see that, especially when there are Toledo players that are running for the ball. But Sam Wexel's been in this position a lot. She knows what she's doing. She's a senior, so she knows how to play that situation well and avoid calamity whenever that occurs.
Toledo going to take a step back, slow down here, but we see Madison Clayton full sprinting in, trying to get that ball back. We talked a lot about the speed of these players so far this game, and they are showing it off here. A big kick right there from Olivia Sinsky, but the Toledo's able to fight back and keep it down on that side of the field. Bobcats taken over Shea Robertson, but it's knocked out of bounds. Ball back in the hands of the Bobcats here. Still 0-0 here. That one knocked out of bounds once again, this time for the Rockets.
Yep. As we get into the 65th minute of the game, both of these two teams have still been unable to find separation. We've seen a couple of different plays where Bobcats have had a chance or where Toledo had a chance, but the defenses ultimately have won the day. And I remember you making the earlier prediction saying that there's a potential that these two teams might tie at 0. And right now, through the first 65 minutes, it's looking that way. But we'll see if anything goes down here in the last 25 minutes of the game here. It looks like
Toledo nearing the goal on that one. They take the shot, but it misses wide right. Didn't see a whole lot of commotion down there. That was more of a one-on-one deal down there. And Sam Wexel is going to grab it and kick it off to her teammates for the goal kick. And she sends it off up the left side. Knocked out of bounds by Toledo. See Olivia Darrow throwing this one in off to Townsend. Knocked out of bounds once again. Toledo taking over here. Bobcats going to try to get the ball back right here. Heard a whistle coming from the far side of the field. Seeing some substitutions here for the Rockets.
Yep, I'm seeing last time when I was watching the Bobcats play against the Bulls of Buffalo, what they did and they utilized was putting some of their star players out for about 5 to 10 minutes before the final 10 to 15 minutes. And that was able to ultimately be able to get them the win just because of the fresh legs that came in the last 10 minutes from your senior stars. And it looks like Toledo is going to look to try the same thing. And it's also a great opportunity to be able to get your younger players in. But in Toledo's case, their players and their starters are all younger, so it just allows you to get more depth in their case.
Yeah, exactly, and it's beneficial for this Bobcat team. So the younger players get to see how this team works, especially nearing the end, coming up on big moments of the game. We see a substitution for the Bobcats. They're taking out Haley Miller. We're going to see Serena Dierig make her way onto the field. Just like you talked about, we're going to see a lot of substitutions here in these next couple minutes, give our starters a chance to catch a breather. 80-minute soccer game is a lot of time to play soccer and a lot of running. So it's always good we're able to do this and have real depth on our bench.
You definitely aren't kidding, Chloe. And I mean, Serena, she's a player that's a graduate senior, so she's been in these games like this. She knows how, she has the experience. She's been in situations and been in a lot of games for the Bobcats. So that's somebody you definitely want to have on your bench as depth to be able to come in for when certain players are tired, especially if she's still going to supply the same leadership that the seniors give.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about leadership. This one, toeing that line out of bounds by the Rockets. So Olivia Darrow is going to pass this one in. Bobcats working near their goal here, but she's going to keep it easy. Send it to Townsend. Always the safe choice right there. That one missing by just inches off the foot of Carson Prigge.
That was one of the best looks that the Bobcats got all day, Chloe. Again, really good that they were able to get that. That's not going to count down as a shot on goal since it was a little bit off. But to be able to generate that sort of opportunity where you have an open look at the goal with no defenders, it shows that they're slowly starting to chip away at that defense for the Rockets. And if they can continue chipping and chipping away, they're going to find themselves rewarded with the goal.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shot. I could see that opening even from all the way up here above the press box. Bobcats' aggression continues. As we see up the middle, Carson Prigge once again sends it to Townsend, but it's too far, and Townsend's able to save that one from going out of bounds. And Toledo gonna knock that one out of bounds, try to stop up that momentum that Townsend in the offense is creating. And we see another Bobcat corner kick here.
And Abby Townsend's really the one to thank for that one, as that ball looked like it was going to be for sure rolling out of bounds. But she has the impressive speed and the wherewithal to get down there and be able to tightrope the sideline and keep that ball from going out. And that's how they were able to be rewarded with the corner kick, their 6th of the afternoon.
I can't see who that is. See if they are successful this time. She sends it in near the goal. That one almost knocked in. A beautiful save there by the defense. It looks like they're going to call that back, and they're going to call that one a goal for the Bobcats. That was such a close play right there. A great effort by the Bobcats. Finally, they're successful with the corner kick. They take over here on the 25-minute mark, and they now lead 1-0. Crowd getting hyped up after that one. There were so many Bobcats right there, I couldn't exactly see who was the one to tap that one in, but it didn't even make it to the back of the net. It just barely passed that goal line.
I say that's a great call by the refs to be able to see that ball crossed that line. It was very close, it was very tight, and you saw all the Bobcats erupt right there, being like, that's a goal, that's a goal, that's a goal. And the referee made the call. That was a goal, and the Bobcats are now nursing a 1-0 lead, and it looks like they're not going to take their pedal off the metal.
Yep, they get that ball right back. Already coming in that offense once again. A beautiful pass there. Another beautiful pass between Olivia Darrow and others. She was the receiver. This one near the goal once again, but a couple of headers, and the Toledo Rockets are able to recover off that one.
Again, really great job on the positioning. There's a lot of players to thank for that goal there, but Allie Campanella, she's the one who kicked that one into perfect position for her teammates to get there. And even though Toledo was able to get a hand up there to try to knock the ball away with Emma Butterwick, it went right past her one outstretched hand and then right in perfect position for the Bobcats to be able to take advantage of the score. Once we learn, we'll be able to tell you who ended up scoring that goal once they announce that.
I think after 6 corner kicks, the Bobcats were like, okay, we have to sit back and we have to score on this one. Not going to get many more chances. So they wanted to capitalize on that. Interesting enough, we have yet to see one from Toledo. That one's knocked out of bounds off the foot of Olivia Darrow. We're seeing Darrow spending a lot of time down here near the Toledo goal.
Yep, so we just found out on the announcing that that goal was by Serena Dierig. We were talking about her earlier, about being somebody that you love to have as depth to be able to come into game in situations like this, especially as a graduate senior. And you see her come up big after just checking into the game. She found herself with a goal, and that one for her is her first one of the season, I believe. Yes, it is.
See some more substitutions here, giving Olivia Darrow a break for the Bobcats, as well as Grace Tursky. But yeah, Cedric, it is interesting. As soon as we mentioned Serena Dierig, she's going to go on to score a goal, but that just shows the depth of this bench, exactly like we've been saying all game long. This one passed in by the Bobcats, but Toledo takes over. That aggression continues. This one remains inbounds. We see the speed of Olivia Sinsky coming back, kicking that one back to Wexel. A bit of slippage right there. Back near the middle of the field. Bobcats slowing down right here, taking a minute to set up some plays, see if they can get another shot on the goal.
I'm impressed, Chloe, just with how the offense has been for the Bobcats. Again, even though Toledo's such a tough defensive team, they did not give up. They continued being persistent, and they continued just being relentless. Attack after attack after attack. Corner kick generated after corner kick generated after corner kick generated. And it was able to pay dividends right there, whether it was just the running of Abby Townsend to be able to force that corner kick in the first place, and Allie Campanella putting it in a perfect place on that corner kick. And then, of course, Serena Dierig being able to produce the goal. It's just really impressive. This is only the 6th goal that Toledo has allowed all season. And already they are many games in now. This is the 12th game of the year now. So it's been a couple of games now for Toledo. They've had a lot of games, and only allow 6 goals is crazy. But to be able to be one of those teams that's gotten one of those is just really impressive. And the Bobcats got to hang their hat on it. But you can't do that yet until this game is over, and there's still some time left. So we'll see if the Bobcats can finish off the Rockets.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Cedric. We came into this game talking about how just tough this Toledo defense is and how they're ranking top of the MAC. But the Bobcats, the more pressure you put on them, they are bound to make a mistake and let one slip by. The Bobcats have done an amazing job at that. We see they're going to call that one offsides. Madison Clayton set up perfectly down there. But I think Toledo knew what they was doing by not moving back and making her get the offsides as they get the ball back.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially, again, you get pretty hyped and pretty excited when you see the ball coming up your way, and you might accidentally go and walk your way into the box, and that, of course, is always going to result in the offside.
Toledo giving the ball back on that one after being knocked out of bounds. Seeing a couple more substitutions in here, seeing a lot we've mentioned already. Crucial part of the game coming down with the last 15 minutes coming up in this game. We see some defensive work. Shea Robertson stealing that one away. Good steal right there by Robertson, and she's set up right in front of the goal. Takes a shot, but into the hands of Emma Buderwick.
That was impressive patience by Shea Robertson as she waited just a hair, and that allowed the Toledo's defender slide tackle to pass by her, so she was able to get a clean look. Again, she's just a sophomore, but she's already showing some really lots of experience. She played on a lot of games last year. She's one of the stars of the team, and being able to become more experienced now into your sophomore year, it's impressive to see as you see some fancy footwork there. Wow.
And here she is right back with it, seeing a lot of good looks here from this team, a lot of good passing. As it's to Isabella Gnocchi. This one missing just a little bit behind with the pass from Paige Knorr. The Bobcats get it right back. They keep on pressing nearer and nearer that goal. See a little battle here. So that one knocked out of bounds. They're going to give it back to the Bobcats.
It is. We'll see how this game progresses. We are in the last 15 minutes of the game, the 75th minute now. As, again, this is the time where all of that training, all of that conditioning is really going to start to matter. Who's going to be the team that's going to be the best when they're tired? These players have been running around for 75 minutes with only a little halftime break in between there. So we're going to see what team is more conditioned and what team wants this win more.
Exactly right, but the Bobcats have really taken control. We've seen at the start of this half, Toledo really attack first and get the ball down near that Bobcat goal. But since then, they have taken over and hardly let Toledo even touch the ball. I think in the end, that's going to come back and bite them. Shea Robertson battling a little bit with some of the Rocket players there as it's knocked out of bounds. They're going to give that one back to Toledo, though.
I'll say good awareness by Shea, though, to be able to jump off. It looks like one of the Toledo players had their leg out trying to get the ball, but it almost ended up looking like it could have been an easy tripping hazard, but she was able to jump over it. Unfortunately, though, the ball ricocheted off of her, and it's going to result in the Toledo possession here. But now the Bobcats have it.
Yep, the kick from Wexel sent long and off to the right. The Bobcats are able to hang on to this one, seeing a little bit of defensive action here as they send it up the field, but Toledo knocking it right back. That one almost stuck between her legs. Paige Knorr working her way up the field, passing it off to Madison Clayton right there in the corner. Some nice footwork. She sends this one right in front of the goal. And another goal from the Bobcats. Oh my goodness, what beautiful passing right there between this team. Shea Robertson with that one.
That is unfortunate for the Bobcats. That just hurts because that almost would have been the dagger. They had it, and they had Toledo right where they wanted them, but they're going to call the offside call as it looked like the player arrived in the goalie box right before the ball. Good call by the refs, but that one's definitely going to hurt for the Bobcats as they look like they had a chance to be able to create 2-goal separation and probably could have put the Rockets in away for good. But, hey, Bobcats are still showing that sign of aggression. Even though they're up 1-0, they're not playing just to not lose. They're playing to win right now.
Yeah, that was a tough call right there. Robertson, the one near the goal, the one that initially kicked it in. Hard shot off the Rockets. The Bobcats are going to keep on pushing, giving this back to midfield. They are really just commanding this game right now. So they keep getting stronger and stronger as the game progresses. They're going to kick this one all the way back to Wexel. Trying to find a way to send it back up the field. They're going to try to take another shot on the goal here. But Toledo able to recover. We see some aggressive out of Townsend, one-on-one here, and she kicks it off out of bounds.
It's really impressive seeing all the one-on-ones that occur in soccer. Again, that is a phrase that both of us have been saying throughout the broadcast a lot, is how many one-on-ones there are. And it really tends, when we break down soccer, it's just a game of these one-on-ones. Who's going to win these battles? Who's going to win these one-on-ones? Who's going to be able to make the pass when somebody's bearing down on them? Again, it's just really cool being able to see how the Bobcats have come out on top of these one-on-ones more times than the Rockets have so far. And that's allowed the difference in the game to be the way it is as we work our way into the 80th minute of the game. 10 minutes left.
Yep, nearing 10 minutes. That one, a close one right there for the Rockets. It looked like Sam Wexel may have slipped, but she was able to keep it off the corner.
Another scary sequence right there for the Bobcats. That nearly was a Toledo score that would have tied things up. But Sam Wexel was able just to get just enough of the ball. That one missed the post by about 2 centimeters.
Yep, that one was definitely scary, Cedric. Game of inches, as they like to say.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Probably could have fit a freaking postage note or something like that, a posted note in between the goal and the ball right there.
Yeah, that one was kind of shocking to see up here. Some good defense right there. Olivia Sinsky keeps that one from nearing the Bobcat goal. Ellie Poole making some damage, and Sinsky sending it out once again. Paige Norris sending that one out. Kind of trying to break up that Rocket momentum right there.
Yep. This is where it's really going to come down to the defense for the Bobcats. If they can be able to prove themselves impermeable like they have the last 80 minutes, as you see the ball ricochet off a player. But, yeah, it's really going to come down to the leaders inside. It's going to come down to Paige Norris. It's going to come down to Olivia Sinsky and then Ella Bianco. They've been playing very strong all day long. And, again, in this tough scenario here where Toledo's going to get a great opportunity on the corner kick, we'll see if the Bobcats can be able to stave them off. Only the first corner kick now for Toledo.
Yep, it's been interesting all game how they haven't had many corner kick opportunities, but the Bobcats do their job right there, and they get that one out and away from the goal as Toledo sends it out of bounds and gives Bobcats possession of this one. See some more substituting. We only have about 8 minutes left in this game. Bobcats really just need to settle down here and keep that defense going in order to win. See Emily Mann checking in for the Cats. Toledo steals this one back. Ganaki playing some good defense here, and here we have some more one-on-one action. Shay Robertson, she does it all for the Bobcats. And she knocks that one out of bounds.
Oh, it looks like she just won that one-on-one right there. Again, very solid by Shay Robertson, telling you that, hey, I don't just do it on offense, I also can get it done on defense as well. And the Bobcats are going to need all hands on deck to be able to stave off, yet again, another corner kick by Toledo, their second one in the last 2 minutes.
Yep, back to back. And that one knocked out of bounds. Giving this one back to the Bobcats.
Yep, Bobcats now 1-0 lead. They're nursing that lead with only about 7 minutes remaining in the game. It is the 83rd minute. So, again, the desperation mode is going to start to set in for Toledo. We'll see if they want to pull their goalie or if they're going to make any of those sort of decisions to try to commit all they can to the offensive effort. But you're going to see Ohio try to start doing tactics to start draining the clock, whether that's taking a little bit longer on your goal kicks, because they're definitely not going to be in a hurry and see a trip.
Shay Robertson tripped right there, right about midfield. No call on that one. Bobcats going to take over. Yeah, like we've said, defense is really going to come down to it. I mean, both teams are ranked top 4 in the MAC in defense. We're really going to see why right here in the final 6 minutes play.
And it has. It's really, again, this game has epitomized the definition of a defensive battle. As you see the Bobcats start to drain the clock a little bit, they got a nice 10 seconds off. There goes the ball bouncing and just to the left.
Talked about that power from Sinsky. She shows it off once again there with that one. But going to give that ball back to Toledo. We see starter Carson Priggy subbing back in for the Bobcats. Like you mentioned earlier, they were going to let their starters kind of catch a breath before the final minutes to play. And it looks like they did just that, subbing back in some of their starters. That one gets away from them. Another race to the ball right there. We see a bit more of a 2-on-1. We talked about one-on-ones, but not the 2-on-1s, how important it is for those little tricks and good footwork from all girls.
It is. You see the 2-on-1, it was a little bit easier for Toledo to try to come out on top. But even against all odds, Bobcats were able to get the ball and win possession there on the 2-on-1.
Bobcats taking control of this one. See the aggression coming out of the Rockets as they take this one back. Sprinting effort there by Izzy Boyd. She takes that one, but the Toledo Rockets recover and send it high near the goal, near Sinsky. Bobcats going to slow down, watch a little bit of that clock burn out as she takes her time to pick that one up. Yep,
5 minutes remain in the game, so 85th minute. Bobcats clinging to a 1-0 lead as you see the Bobcats using their tactics, as I said earlier, to waste that clock, especially since time is on their side.
It's going to be an interesting week coming up for the Bobcats as homecoming is next weekend. They are back home here at Chesapeake Field next Thursday. A sliding effort there from Grace Tursky. But Paige Knorr is able to recover that one. But Toledo taking control once again. That one kicked out to Izzy Boyd. Toledo marching it down the field. Morgan Colica out there. Not able to get anything done as they kick that one out and away from the goal, but it's out of, not really out of bounds. It's out of bounds now.
I'll say
Toledo
well done.
sends that one far.
Oops, sorry. Well done by Ella Bianco there to be able to knock that one out. And then also the Bobcats, I know with the time you want to try to just keep it away from the defenders, but any way where you can just kick it deep into Toledo territory, being able to waste clock is just as valuable as having possession of the ball. So just being able to do what you can do.
We've seen Wexel kind of come out of the goal and then slip when she gets out there. We talked a little bit about how dangerous it is to come out that far, especially with a mistake like that, but some good defense from the Bobcats protected her. So she's going to kick this one. So we near the 3-minute mark. She sends this one down the field. Some headers out there midfield. Carson Prigg takes over, sends it off to the side. Paige Knorr sprinting on that one. See a battle as she keeps it in bounds. And up to the corner. That one's sent out by Toledo, and looks like the Bobcats are going to recover here near the goal.
And that's just a terrific play right there by Paige Knorr, being able to scramble down there, because the most important thing about that is that just burnt about 15 to 20 seconds off the clock, guaranteed. And now she can take her time, she can walk slowly, not having to be in a rush, and everybody can jostle as the clock continues to drip. But they actually end up stopping play temporarily. Now the clock is running again.
Paige Knorr sending that one in. Some more slippage there, and Knorr taking control of this one, passing it over to Ganaki. Knorr saves that one from going out of bounds, but it ends up rolling out anyway. Toledo taking over here near the Bobcat goal. See some more great hustle out of Izzy Boyd. Shea Robertson, Izzy Boyd, a lot of our forwards taking over. Gonna call that one, give that one back to Toledo, nearing 2-second mark. But like you said, this Bobcat defense is doing a great job of just burning out that clock, taking their time, slowing down, trying to keep the Rockets.
It is, but despite how good they've been the first 88 minutes, they're gonna have to be as tough as they've been all game in these last two, Chloe.
Exactly, every minute counts when it comes to soccer, especially low scoring. Ball bounces off into the road as we see a car speed right past.
Yeah, talk about a big leg. That one went to the tree across the street.
This one rolling, you see aggression out there. Shot near the goal, but the good block right there by Paige Knorr to keep that one from the goal. And Knorr kicking that one out. Yeah, like you said, low scoring like this, one coming down to 1 minute. Last minute is important as every one of the other ones.
Sure is, especially when now there's only 1 minute left in the game, as you're going to hear it on the PA announcing real quick.
1 minute remaining.
Bobcats taking over, sending this one near the line. Toledo's able to take over, kicking this one near the goal. But Sinsky keeping that one away. A lot of headers right here on both sides. Toledo recovering. Paige Knorr sending that one out of bounds. And looks like Toledo's gonna get a corner kick here with 30 seconds to go. One of the biggest plays of the game right here, sends it in. It's bouncing around and the Bobcats kick that one out and they protect. Another header right there sent out. Time is not on the Rockets' side, working here with 10 seconds to go. They're going to call offsides on Toledo. Give the ball to the Bobcats, and we win as we count down. Ohio taking this one 1-0 on a big corner kick play.
Now that's exciting. Now that's a way to freak it in a soccer match. It was a corner kick. It looked like that the Toledo had set up for a perfect last opportunity. But what did it come down to? The Bobcats defense. And the Bobcats defense remained strong. They were literally impermeable as they gave up no goals. And that makes not one, not two, but 3 games in a row where they have not given up a goal. That is about as an impressive a streak as it gets, especially when you're playing in a MAC conference with a lot of talent. To be able to do that is very strong. And for the standings, Chloe, this doesn't get any more sweeter as the Bobcats solidify themselves as at least being in the top 2 in the MAC. The Miami Redhawks are going to be in action today. We'll figure out if they win. But if they lose, the Bobcats could very well be in first. But at worst case scenario, they are in second place in the MAC, and they improved their record to 7-3-1. And they have more conference wins than they did last year, or as many as they did last year, which is hella impressive. So
really exciting, Cedric, here early in this game, early in the season. We're going to see the Bobcats right back here at Chesapeake Field coming up on Thursday for their homecoming night against Western Michigan. It's going to be exciting to see if they are able to keep up the impressive win streak. Cedric, tell us a bit about how Western Michigan's done this year.
So Western Michigan, they are 1-2. They're 3-7 on the year, but do not let that fool you. Again, every team in the MAC is really tough competition, as we found out. Even 2-5-2 Bowling Green gave the Bobcats a game. It's going to be a tough battle. Western Michigan, they have won a conference game. They may very well win another. They could be in the same place as Toledo in terms of conference record by the time it's all said and done today. So again, that's somebody that the Bobcats cannot take lightly, and I expect Coach Aaron Rodgers to be able to have his team ready for another home match, especially when it's homecoming weekend. You're going to have a lot of people in town. It's going to be very exciting for the Bobcats, and another opportunity to be able to improve their MAC record to 4-0-1 if they can get a win against Western Michigan. As for Toledo, though, they're going to fall to 2-2 in the conference, 7-3-2, so they still have a very, very impressive record. So still nothing to really hang your hat on and really hang your head down for if you're Toledo. They still have a lot of great things going, and they have a lot of young players that just faced a really tough Ohio team, and they weren't able to persevere over that. But their next game doesn't get much easier, Chloe, as they got to go at Miami as they're going to continue their Southern Ohio tour here and take on the Redhawks, who are red hot right now. So we'll see how both of these teams match up. I would not be surprised to see these two teams match up again in MAC tournament play.
Thank you for the rundown, Curtis. Thank you, everyone. Not Curtis, Cedric. Thank you, everyone, for listening out there. So Bobcats take this one 1-0. Hope to see you back here at Chesapeake Field on Thursday. And thank everyone for tuning in. For Bobcat TV.